The soul is life itself. The life breath is so. In all the scriptures, you have seen that inexpensive way, like even paper mache, of different gods and angels. And they are very active during nighttime, and you go to bed by keeping those images around you. And you will experience the presence of the angels or God's images you have kept around you when you are sleeping. Because of the coronavirus, it got delayed. Otherwise, I was going to make these things and keep it by close to your bed and then sleep. So it's a great technology for you to understand a reality beyond your mind, beyond what you see with your senses. We don't pay attention to anything other than what we can perceive through our senses and the eyes and the mind. But we miss a lot. And yesterday I taught you a meditation, just keeping your hand like this. And then you feel the space energy touching your palms. And the palms begin to understand the pulsation of life. That's why they kneel down and pray and put the hands like this. When you do that, within a minute or less than a minute, you can see the energy. You can see if you're a physicist, you can see that you are in contact with the electrons. You move this, you are moving electrons. And that is energy. That's life. And what is the advantage of living this life? A soulful life, understanding what the soul is, what the energy is, what is the breath energy is. You will be immensely peaceful. You are now living a life with certain rules and certain norms and with certain givens that, with which we envision life as, I'm going to make this much money, this is the relationship I have, and I have this sickness. So we are overwhelmed with data that like kind of freeze us and then imprison us and then doesn't allow us to understand what the soul is. Doesn't give us opportunity to live a soulful life. We live a life driven by the mind and then drives us nuts. And if you live a life of soul, a soulful life, you will be in bliss. Then you will see all these illusions that we have created, all the time we have created. It's all just an illusion from the perspective of the soul. The body dies, but the soul will never die. The soul will reincarnate. and then we'll remember the past lifetimes, and then pick up, what you want to live in this incarnation. So it goes on and on and on until you realize, oh my God, what am I doing here? See, the first experience you have of the soul is when you die. When you die, for the first time, you are able to see the soul, and the soul sees the body, and then says, oh my God, all along I've been thinking that I am this body. Now I know that I am not bound by the body. That is the first experience that the soul has. It is completely get overwhelmed by the body and the body's experiences, needs, requirements, all these things overwhelm us. Predominantly the thoughts overwhelm us. So you have, in order to live a soulful life, you have to get out of it, of the body, of the mind. And we can do it very simply. As I am talking to you, I'm just, placing my hands like this, and you can do that too. Only thing is I'm talking to you and you are listening, but still both of us are stretching our hands, and then simultaneously you can listen to me and also pay your attention on your palms and the fingers, and then you will see a tremendous amount of energy flowing. And this energy is the soul, God. The soul belongs to God. Life is God's energy. And once you begin to know more and more and more about it, and you can focus this life energy and then heal yourself. Heal the diseased parts of the body, whether inside the body or the skin or wherever it is. And also you can know the future, know the past, provided if you are in contact with your soul, and you should start living a conscious life. You should become conscious of the words that you use. The moment you become conscious, then you will separate yourself from your thoughts. The mind is giving thoughts, and why is it giving these thoughts? You'll be able to see the thoughts flowing. And then you still pull back to your core being, which is the soul. And that will be an ecstatic experience. Now I'm talking from a state of being fully aware of the soul. And you can listen to that from the same plane too. And when you are saturated with the soul, you have a dual life. You are living a life of the senses. You are hearing, you are understanding what I am saying. But at the same time, you are not lost to the sense data that's coming to you, the mind data that's coming to you. And you are not fearful. You are not self-conscious, meaning the mind consciousness. You should be mind conscious and the self-conscious at the same time. But more self-conscious. And then the mind and the soul should work together. Then the mind will be empowered. The mind will not be the mind is now fear-driven, anxiety-driven. All of our life is anxiety-driven. We are worried that we are going to die. We are worried that we are aging. We are worried that our relationship will be gone. And then we play games. Completely we are living a life full of fear, uncertainty, And it is not real at all. It is all you are creating it. But from the, when you live the soul's consciousness, the soul is not going to worry about life or death, because the soul will always be alive. It is not going to die when the body dies. And it is an ecstatic experience. And this is what we miss when we do not pull ourselves back and then focus on our soul. There are lots of books now on near-death experience. And there's a book in 2008 or so, Proof of Heaven, by this neurosurgeon who went into a coma for a week, and he went to heaven. And in heaven, it's very interesting. He was in one of my YouTube videos shows where I was talking to him about his book. And he went in the coma state, his soul went to heaven. The angels were there, they were singing. And then they also heard the sound Om. And he said the Om was God. And I asked him, you are a neurosurgeon, but how do you know about Om? And no, it's what I heard there. And he said, I knew at that time Om was God. And this is exactly what the yogic textbooks say, that Om is God. Om is consciousness. It may be called Amen or Amen. So we have to learn to live the soul life, not in a metaphysical sense or theological sense of reading scriptures. So whenever I teach, whether it is theology or philosophy or science, there is a purpose, to put it in mundane terms, a profit motive. It's profitable to have a statue stand by your side. And you will get the blessings of the statue. The God will come into the statue. That's a great science. And that is very easy. And nobody ever teaches a technology like that, to my knowledge. Keep around a few statues. Keep a huge statue of Lakshmi, and energized. And that is the prana pradishta form. And then they will come and occupy the statue. And then they want to communicate with you. We have discarded all these things as superstition, and then we have in place created science, and whatever is not science is not true. Now, what is science doing with the coronavirus? The coronavirus, nobody could do anything with it. It is invisible. Now, this is a time that God wants everybody to look at life. Everything that we have had, for most people at least, just was lost. 30 million people without job. The economy collapsed. Now, this is the time for reflection on what life is. And then my way of experiencing life, experiencing soul, is just when you look at something, just don't get overwhelmed by what you are seeing. Just pull back. And you'll be seeing, but also you'll be focused on the soul, which is looking at things. And then the soul will give you different interpretations of it. And it is not only just the memory that the mind retrieves and gives you understanding of what it is. So that's why the Zen people would say they teach the soul experience by in this phrase they use: eat in Zen, drink in Zen, walk in Zen, speak in Zen, and sleep in Zen, meaning that you don't lose your consciousness. You don't lose your consciousness. You are aware of the soul, you are aware of the environment, and while doing so, you will see ecstasy, complete ecstasy, because you are living the soul. You are not living the mind. You are not living the senses. And even if you move your hand, just move, just try. The Kundalini will raise from the bottom of the spine. We just move your hand. There is this life energy that stays at the Muladhara, which is the root chakra, and then it'll go. Just by this experience, you can have it. You are not completely lost in the conversation because you are fearful even talking to other people. You are so self-conscious, afraid and negative and protective. You do not focus on life and then live life soulfully. Living life soulfully is to be aware of our own existence, of our own body, of our own movement of things, of our own eye movements, of our own tongue and the speech, and not get lost in anxiety, fear, and that life becomes a meditation. So meditation is not just sitting there fighting with thoughts, fighting with the enemies who are not there, or fighting with the friends who are not there. All these are nonsense. You should be able to see the thought forms extraneous to you. You should be able to address the thoughts. This is, not going to work for me. Get out. I'm not the thought. I am the soul. The thoughts arise out of the memory we have, out of anxiety we have. And this is then, while doing that, you can just become aware of your breath. And just focus on your eyes. Even when you are in conversation with other people, just put your attention on the eyeballs and listen to the people. Then you will have a different experience. Now you can do that while you are listening to me. You are listening to me, and you are putting your attention on the eyes. Then what will happen is you are listening, and your attention is on the eyes, but then my image will not be as clear to you as when the eyes are fully engaged with the mind. When the mind is fully engaged, the eye gives a very defined picture, image of me. When you are focusing your eyes on your eyes, the image will be blurry. But then that will help you to understand another way of living. So where then you can go and look inside. And you can look into the third eye with your, that's another way of doing it. When you are listening to me or listening to anyone, just hear with your ears, and then let the eyes go and focus on your third eye, which is your pineal gland. This is living soulfully. This is soulful life. You are not lost. Now you are lost. Just put your attention. The eyes are looking at inward on the pineal gland, which is the third eye, which is the center of the soul. And see what happens. You will be blissful. You will not be worried about the surroundings or the bank balance. You are not in denial, because you will know when you practice this, things happen with the assistance of the soul intelligence. This is another way of living. Unfortunately, our schools don't teach this. They teach us how we can get lost. Now, so this is how, at least from now on, it's only not listening to me, listening to anyone else. And focus attention, draw take your consciousness to go inwards through the eyes, into the third eye. You will have a very beautiful experience. So this is meditation too. That is working in Zen, eating in Zen, sleeping in Zen. Zen simply means meditation. The word Zen is a corruption of the Chinese word Chan, and then Chinese word is a corruption of the Sanskrit word Dhyan, because Dhyan is meditation. It went to China and from China to Japan. I'm very happy that I was inspired to do that. And during this time when we are overwhelmed with the lack of money and lack of jobs and how things are going to work, don't worry about it. Everything is works so beautiful, works so beautifully. Let's collectively, create that reality. Now you have an option to be depressed or to be blissful. No, how can I be blissful if I don't have a job? Yeah. And then you can stay in that consciousness. It's not going to be helpful, except that it is going to depress you more. So be positive. And to be positive is the nature of the soul. So this will also give you positive in spite of your mind, in spite of your senses. That's why I'm teaching this to you. God bless.